Okay, 1804, question mark, good luck. Oh, we have actually played before, but my opponent has a provisional rating for Rapid. But 758 games. So it means they've not played Rapid for a long while. See, 2000 in Bullet. So this is the Reti opening. When you get C6, you generally do B3 and then G3. And you're aiming to put your bishops on both of the diagonals. So this is a very, very common setup. You'll see this in a lot of my games. And now we've castled, we can worry about what to actually do. So he's threatening to take and win a pawn there. So I guess D3 makes common sense. Common sense there, just a logical move, just guard the pawn. We can push here, we can then try and go D4 at some point. Try and push it. It's always slow, steady when you play the Reti like this. Not wild, crazy. Now, does it matter where our knight goes here? We could play a bishop up and try and trade the bishop up as well, but A4, A5, I don't like that. So what about going here and offering to trade the bishop? I guess you've got C5. Yeah, I'm just going to bring my knight up. I think I'm just going to develop my knight. Sometimes you play different moves just for that little bit of variety game to game. I get this type of position quite often, not necessarily with a knight here, but this type of position quite a lot. Okay, now I'm just going to go E3 and gradually edge forward at some point, but careful not to try and blunder this pawn. Okay, he's gone C5, so I think I should take now. So we're going to have a 2-on-1 centre pawn advantage. So I like the idea of going here. It restricts my bishop, but we'll try and stop our opponent from completely dominating the centre. Okay, bishop comes down, creating a pin, so good to break that if we can. So I'm just looking at the simple queen up, but there's no immediate threat this move, so we could take. Bishop takes. Maybe knight across, although that doesn't look quite so good. No, I'm going to break the pin, I think. Yeah, if knight comes in, I can take. Sorry, knight in here. I can take back. So he has indeed pushed forward, so we could get a 2 versus 0 centre majority here. Here, knight takes. I've just got to be careful about my bishop. I might have to walk back into a pin. Okay, what about knight here actually first? I'm going to go up first and hit the bishop, but it does mean I can't actually put my queen here now, assuming he drops back. But I do cover this pawn, so if his knight comes in, I can take. So if he takes first, can I take here? Because I threatened to take a knight with check. He's gone back. But now I'm happy to take here, and there might even be a pawn at the end if he takes the way he has. But if I take here, rook across, there's a double attack, but my bishop's guarded. So try and figure this out. Rook across is the logical common sense move. Now I can drop back and attack his rook. My queen guards the bishop. But he would have a move like queen up to double attack my bishop. So I could gain a rook, lose a bishop, gain a queen, lose a queen. And then I think my bishop's getting back out. So I think it's a pawn. I think it is, so I'm going to take it. If I'm miscalculating, I'm miscalculating, but I think it's a pawn. So I hit the rook, but I've still got to figure out a plan what to do with this. Oh, excuse me, a bit croaky. Now, he might look at a move like queen up. Takes, takes, trade, trade. Oh, he's swapping the bishop, but that should be good for us. I'm happy with that. Now I've just got to figure out my bishop here. So what do? I'm looking at pawn up to make room to go behind the pawn. And it means my knight can potentially go forward as well. I like the look of that. Get the bishop off the firing line rather than trying to guard it. Although that makes it a little bit more awkward. So I guess I'll step... Actually, I could step out the way and attack a pawn. Here, if knight in, I can take. If you take, I can take back and get out of the way. Yeah, I like the idea. Although here, does it blunder a pawn? Take, maybe. It's a little bit risky, isn't it? Yeah, I'll just go here. It walks into potential tactics. Even, ooh, that wasn't even on the radar for me, that. That's me getting a bit careless. That wasn't even on the radar. He's looking at knight down and coming in, so... Why did I not see that move? I didn't even see that. Knight down, knight down, knight up, queen takes. I might have just blundered the whole game, mightn't I? If I've got to go up, he can take here. Wasn't even looking at that. But knight down, up. It's a pawn up, knight down, up. I think I have to push. I know he can win a pawn here. Takes, takes, and takes, but that's the least of my problems. Knight in, I'm going to play f3. If he does immediate knight in. I wasn't even paying attention to that move. So this game could go horribly wrong. Now he can take here, and just simply grab a pawn. There may be another one as well. But I'm just trying to not get checkmated here. That's what we're looking at right now. Actually, no, let's not pre-move. I'm miles down on the clock, 2 minutes, but... just not even paying attention to the checkmate threat. Careless, careless. So he has gone for it immediately, so I'm going to give up an exchange here. It's the only thing I can do. We'll play it in. I'll play queen across. Oh, I can't play queen right across, actually. I thought I could. So I'll have to go here. I'll have to take... Actually, let's not pre-move again. He'll probably play knight takes, but he might not. But I'm trying to make sure this is covered as well. He has. Can we survive this, or are we just completely busted? He's done really well and gained the exchange, so we should find this one a bit of a struggle now. We will find this one a bit of a struggle now. Unless I can somehow plant my bishop in the centre of the board, which I don't see how it's possible. Maybe get this pawn. I don't see how it's possible right now. Eventually the rook should overpower us, should do, but let's see. So he's played rook across. Well, that gives me knight up at a very nice square for the knight, but what's he going to do with his bishop? I'm going to attack the bishop here. Comes down, I'll have to drop back. I've got to play relatively quick, don't I? If he comes down with a pawn, take, bishop takes, I've got check, take, rook takes, but that would give up 2 pieces, wouldn't it, for rook and a pawn? So down, I think I just have to drop back and use my bishop as a simple blockader and nothing else. But I've got to try and get this clock back now and play quickly. I'm back to a minute now. It should be too much, this. He's a strong player at this level. See, he's over 2,000 in bullets, so should be too good for me, should be, but let's just see. He has indeed played that. So take is no good. Take, check. King moves somewhere. Take, either piece takes, no good. Now I've just got to drop back. I've already calculated that, so don't burn time. He just needs to cover this, but he'll definitely have seen it. I could do with, I don't know, maybe knight across and pawn up. The knight's good here, though. The knight's on a nice square here. There's nothing to attack it apart from a rook or a queen. But how do I get another piece into the attack? I'm just completely bogged down. It feels like if I trade the queen here, that would be good for my opponent. That's what it feels like. Because then it takes all the risk away of me having any sort of counter attack. Queen up and across doesn't create anything. If I run my pawn, my knight and my pawn are then very weak. How on earth do I deal with this though? I mean, pawn down, yeah, he's got a really good position, hasn't he? Really good. But I have to play quickly. Whatever I do, I have to do it quick. I'm just got to find some quick moves that are not losing on the spot. And then try and hope that my opponent uses time and gets low on time. So I've been 2 minutes down on the clock. We're just about back now. But I have to try and keep up this pace or I'm doomed. Doomed. I say he's covering this check. So he's offering that trade and it kicks my knight. That can't be good for me. So let's just drop back. Whatever I do, I have to do it relatively quickly. Maybe I need a pawn storm actually. F4 threatens F5 with a tempo on the queen to play F6. That could be useful if it doesn't collapse this position. So rook down is covered, so I'm going to play it quick. If rook down I can take with a knight. I'm threatening F5 to play F6. And it's something. It might prove to be nothing ultimately, but maybe we can come round the back. Wait, so he's allowing me to play F5. Now I'm threatening F6 next move. What's he looking at? He might be looking at some sort of sacrifice, but But f6 is just trying to create simple threats. If pawn up, try and come around the back. That's the sort of idea I'm looking at. Now, if we could get rid of the bishop, there's potential checks, but it doesn't work right now. So let's go here. Again, queen down right now is covered. Queen here, I'm going to move out of the way. If he takes, I think I can take back. Maybe the rook, probably the knight, he's gone there. So I need to shift myself. If he has a tactic like takes, takes, and here, so be it. So be it. I think he has. Take, take, bishop up, bishop up. Take, take, promotes here. But I've got, oh, I don't have queen up now because I've allowed this nonsense. What have I done? I've gone on the wrong square. I should have been on the light square. He doesn't see it, or he doesn't play it if he does see it. But now I've got queen up. Threatening mate, right? Queen takes, I block, and I guard this pawn. I'm going to risk it because it's a mate in one threat. If he takes with check, I block. If he queens, it's still a mate in one threat. It's all or nothing this now. I mean, I've still got, actually, I'm up on time now. I should have used a bit of time there, but he has. So I'm going to block. If he takes, I can take with the knight. If he takes, I can take with the knight, and I'm still in time to cover this pawn. If he plays pawn up, I'm queening, and I'm still threatening mate in one, and I still cover the pawn, and I still cover the bishop. Oops, he's got bishop back. It's not a mate threat, is it? He's got bishop back. He's got bishop back. That's the key move. He just has to see bishop back, and he's fine. So I have to try and play knight takes bishop, and then queen up if he pushes the pawn, I think. Depends what he does with his queen now. But if his queen guards his bishop now, it's the same thing. He can drop back. Oh, he's sacked. So I don't think he'd seen bishop back. That's all he has to see. Bishop back, because it's a mate in one threat now. But now we've got this key pawn. So we should be back in the game. So I've got time on the clock now. If I take the pawn, that gets rid of that threat. He could still push on, so I could take here first, but I don't think I should. You know, this pawn is the key, isn't it? He can obviously take here. But it's now queen rook knight against rook rook bishop. So now I can take here and pin, but my knight is actually a bit trapped now. Can't really move. But then I've got queen across to hit the pawn, hit the rooks. I'm trying to get my knight into play. That's what I think I should play here. Here, bishop takes. I've got a check as well. And then maybe up here. Let's take. Let's take first and threaten to queen. I'm trying to focus now, of course. There is another pawn here, but I don't think that's quite so important right now. Check, he'll have to block with a bishop, only legal move. Queen up, or I can play queen here now. I can take now, but I want to get my knight across somewhere without blundering it away. So I could just check and grab a pawn. It's whether I want his bishop back. I think I do, actually. I'm going to check and take the pawn, drive his bishop back, and then I create a check threat here. Bishop here is covered for one move. So I've still got a check threat here to bring his bishop back, or the king to the corner. But now I've suddenly got a pawn. So it's queen against the rook, and we've got the extra pawn, as long as we're not blundering some nice tactics again. Like rook down and rook down is still dangerous. But he's played it with the rook first, so I can check and he'll come back here, and I can check again, he'll come back. That does allow knight up though, and bishop down is not a move. But surely it's got to be right to play rook up. Rook up, rook down, king up, and I'm on a light square. He doesn't have the bishop check this move, or bishop pin this move. I desperately need to get one rook off the board, then it's a lot less risk. It's a lot less risk if I can just get one of his rooks off the board. Don't mean I still can't mess it up like I did earlier in the game, but a lot less risk. I just overlooked that one move bringing the queen in. Okay, so I've still got this check, and he'll come back here. Check, and he'll have to block if I need to redevelop my pieces, but I've potentially got knight forward now with tempo to attack his rook as well. That looks nice. Because I'm still covering this, so I'm going to play knight forward and hit the rook. But these are all on dark squares, so they're vulnerable to the bishop. My king's on a light square now, so that's good. Okay, he's covered that check, but I've got knight in now. Or I can directly hit this pawn. So can I do it in a way that I attack the rook? I can actually, can't I? So I can actually sack here, takes, check, and then take here. So I've got rook in. If he comes here with a check, I can drop my rook black. So I think I've got a free pawn. So let's look at that. So rook takes, pawn is the move. If king takes, we just queen check and we take the rook, and it looks good. He's got bishop up, but my knight's not pinned, so I'd be fine. If he counters here, I think I just take back. So if he rook checks, importantly, I can drop the rook back to where it is now. So I think that's a move. But we're both down to 2 minutes now. So I've still got to play reasonably quick. I mean, I could even just sack, get rid of the bishop there. Okay, but there I'm going to take the rook. I'm not worried about trying to find a checkmate here. Although let's not pre-move. It is still rapid. It's a safe pre-move because he can't move the rook. He's got to move his king. Again, bishop up, I can drop back now to a light square. And I threaten a check. I hit the pawn. Maybe I should have taken the pawn immediately there. I'll do it now. So if I could even trade here and get rid of the queen for the rook, I'm still cleanly winning. Just get my king out of the way. Give up the queen for the rook, and I've got a knight and 3 pawns against the bishop, so I should be able to win that. Okay, so I can just check and win the rook now. Pooh, we got away with one here, haven't we? We've got away with one there. Let's see quite how bad it was. So yeah, so we have played before, so his provisional rating just means he's not played rapid for a long time. Let's see quite how bad that was. It felt it, didn't it? 51 moves. I wasn't really concentrating too well in the opening, as you could see, and then I had to try and focus a bit better. So I've played the end game well after I've realised I'm struggling, but what was it? Yeah, really bad, really bad. Minus 4.4. I realised I'd gone horribly wrong and I couldn't see how to fix it. So I played the opening fine for the first 19 moves again. So I played the opening fine and I've just gone horribly wrong. Completely busted, and then we've got what, move 34. So it was actually, what were the figures? 89% against 77%. Quick flick through and see where we went wrong. But this is all, excuse me, standard in the Reti opening. So this is the type of structure you're aiming for, even if you don't necessarily remember the actual move orders and things. Just this type of setup is you're generally aiming for. You'll see this in a lot of my games. Then just slow, steady development, and we're fine here. But here, yeah, I should be playing knight forward to e5 here instead of taking the pawn. I'd seen a chance to get a 2-on-1 centre pawn majority, which is why I played it this way. And here I should actually take the pawn and leave it 1v1. That's what I should be doing. So there's always something to learn in every game. Ooh, bishop down was a little bit of an unpleasant pin there. And I thought this was all good for me. I'm +1 here, and it's just about to turn in the next few moves. Yeah, I should have played f3 immediately to deal with this jumping knight. f3 was the key move, and I just wasn't paying attention to this threat. Not paying attention to this threat, and that's a really good distraction move in it. I needed to break the pin this way instead of this way. So queen here, and not worry about this. Right now it does guard, doesn't it? So take, but that's why I went this side, purely because I could see the potential of takes, and I just completely overlooked this queen move. Yeah, I had to play f3 immediately, allowing rook takes e3. In fact, bishop takes first and then rook takes is what the engine is saying would have been played there. And we're just getting gradually worse and worse and worse here. Obviously, so it's -3 now. Oh, that queen move was just putting the queen offside. I should have played g4 here. So we're just about at the worst point now. Now here I should have developed the bishop to f4. and not worry about queening instead of playing f4 itself. But I just seen a chance to push the pawn. That's why I did that. And this is where we're at our worst, minus 4.4. And f5 was good for black. And then in this position, I realised I'd gone wrong here. I wondered if there was queen takes, but it's not being flagged, is it? Bishop to f8 immediately is the correct move. Queen takes, bishop pins. And if bishop up, I guess you take, and you could still queen. That's what I was looking at, but bishop to f8 is the correct move. And then here I should have actually taken the bishop and then before going forward. But if you take with a queen, you can still get the queen back. So that was actually a blunder as well. Yeah, so he should have played g6 here instead of taking the pawn with check. Because that's suddenly the losing blunder. Taking that pawn, and we're suddenly much better for the rest of the game. We've attacked the queen with tempo there. And my opponent hadn't, like, seen this idea, then it looks like getting bishop back to guard the mate threat. And now we're suddenly better for the rest of the game, and thankfully we've played the rest of the game pretty well. But it shows how chess games can go horribly wrong. If you're not quite focused, you're not paying attention, then here we just check and we hit the rook. I mean, we might have had that a few moves earlier there, did we? Gained a pawn. Rook comes down. I'll come down with a check, so I had to move out the way. And then bishop back, and we just check and we hit the rook. And that's game over, isn't it? But very, very fortunate with that one. -4, wow.